Welcome to the San Francisco Public Library Commission meeting for March 20th, 2025. The time is 4:30. I'm Margot Schaub, and I serve as the Commission Affairs Analyst. This meeting is being held in person in the main library Crett Auditorium, and members of the public can observe the meeting using the Zoom system by following the link in the library's event calendar or by calling 1-877-853-5247 and entering Zoom ID 997-0532-9735. Members of the public who are attending the meeting in person may provide public comment for up to 2 minutes for each discussion or action item on the agenda. Library commissioners in attendance are President Wolf, Commissioners Lomax, Gear, Ducey, Lopez, and Bolander.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the March 20th, 2025 meeting of the San Francisco Public Library Commission. We welcome those of you here in Corrette and our virtual audience over Zoom. We will start with the Ramaytush Ohlone land acknowledgement. The area now known as San Francisco is the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the original peoples of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as the caretakers of this place. We recognize that we benefit from living, working, and learning on their traditional homeland. As uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. For today's meeting, all the materials are available on the Library Commission webpage or in the back of the auditorium here in Corrette. Today we have a total of 5 agenda items, and we will begin, as always, with our general public comment. This is a time for our members of the public attending here in Corrette to address the Commission on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. And just a reminder that there will be opportunity to offer public comment on the agenda items when that item is called upon. So I now open it up for general public comment. Thank you.
Not in the back of the room at all, just the agenda and the draft minutes, which don't say they're draft, they just say they're minutes. Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544. I only see 5 commissioners. You really ought to be taking attendance at the very beginning of every meeting. That's typically Robert's rules. We are unfortunately living through some extraordinary times. And in our country's history, every institution and individual that looks after the public need for justice, safety, enrichment, education, and more is under attack. And basically to the benefit of the very super wealthy and corporations, and not ordinary folks who typically find the government able to give them some kind of protection from the predatory and other devastations of business and other agencies. So I consider the library among one of the most important institutions for the public, and certainly hope and expect that you and the management will defend it against any kinds of attacks. I want to repeat that the internet, according to the Surgeon General, has serious negative effects on the mental health of young people and other bad effects. And Frances Haugen has said that the Facebook in particular, among other social medias, is toxic and prioritizes profits over safety.
Thank you very much. Any other further public comment?
Hello, commissioners, library leaders. I am Emily Garvey. I'm the executive director of Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. And it's my pleasure to be here and make public comment and provide some updates. But first, I want to start by addressing the recent executive order that threatens the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which funds critical library programs nationwide. While SFPL is not reliant on IMLS funding, we stand in solidarity with libraries nationwide, especially in rural and state-funded systems that depend on these grants to provide essential services. Friends supports libraries everywhere and the right of library staff to provide equitable services to all communities. On a more positive note, applications are open for our Brown Handler Writer residency. This is the 7th year of our residency supporting emerging writers in San Francisco. If you know any SF-based writers who might be a good fit, please refer them to friendsfpl.org/residency to learn more. We recently hosted a special event in support of the Chinatown branch renovation project at the Chinese Historical Society. A huge thanks to our board members, Barry Fong, Elisa Lee, Jessica Lipnack, Cynthia So Schroeder, and Allison Fong, who helped us gather members of the community to reflect on the impact of this historic branch library. These branch renovations aren't just an opportunity to update buildings in necessary ways, but they are an opportunity to activate communities who rely on the branches and to strengthen connections with them. Library Laureates, our signature event is coming up on Saturday, May 3rd, and we are pleased to share we are already 35% of our way toward fundraising goal. Finally, I want to take a moment to recognize Commissioners Teresa Ono and Susan Mall. Their steadfast leadership on this committee has made a lasting impact on our library, and their work will be appreciated and remembered for years to come. We're excited to see what is next for our commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment? Thank you very much for public comment and especially the recognition of the importance of supporting libraries in rural and other communities around this state and around the country. So we appreciate that. Thank you. We will now move to item number 2, which is discussion and possible action to approve the February 6, 2025 Commission meeting minutes. We will open public comment before our commission discussion on this item. Public comment is now open for this item number 2, approval, the review of the February meeting minutes.
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004, yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California 94117-0544. And I say those things because folks know how to reach you. They may not, if they wanted to reach us, may not know how to do that, and that's why I include that, particularly for those who are not present, and would appreciate if you'd include that in the minutes. Once again, these minutes are drained of meaning. This is your way of controlling information and basically either omitting or distorting anything that's not a rah-rah for your activities. You had some pretty sharp comments at the last meeting from particularly the anonymous citizen, which were not fully or clearly reported, including you had an interruption by the acting chair, which is not documented here at all, nor is that person's response. Once again, I commented on, and you haven't included that, the toxicity as described by Frances Haugen of social media, particularly Facebook, prioritizing profits over safety, particularly for kids. The anonymous citizen correctly described what you had left out about my comments about democracy being in peril. I didn't say that on my own. I said that President Biden said that, and you left that out. I also said, talked about the toxicity. You left out that that was Frances Haugen's testimony to the Senate and elsewhere. With 2 minutes, it's not enough to go into enough details, and I'm sorry that you're doing 2 minutes instead of the 3 you've had in the past.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment regarding the meeting minutes?
Hello, Commissioners. It was just a minor change. There was a comment that was, again, my name is Ruben, Public Library Branch Circulation Supervisor at Ocean View Branch 345 Randolph Street. We're celebrating 25 years coming up in this June. So I just want to mention that. We're very excited. But it's just one little piece where where I was sharing that thought it was a missed opportunity that safety was not a strategic priority. So just scratching out the budget. That was just a little minor change. And additionally, like was shared as well, Commissioners Ono and Moa, we just wish them the best.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing there's no further public comment is now closed, and I turn this over to the commission members for any suggested corrections, or if someone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'd like him to make a motion to approve the minutes with the noted item that the last speaker spoke of, the item, and to accept the minutes of February 6, 2025 with that small addendum.
Can I just get clarity what that change is? I'm looking on page, is it page 2?
It's on page 2, line 3, the word budget, striking that word.
Got it. Thank you. Just want to be clear about that. So we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes with the one removal of the word budget on the top of page 2. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lomax-Garducci and seconded by Vice President Huang.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. President Wolf,
Aye.
Vice President Wong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lomax-Garducci,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Bolander.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. And now we turn to item number 3, which I know we're all looking forward to, a discussion about the activities happening in the branches in terms of capital projects. So I turn the meeting over to City Librarian Michael Lambert.
Thank you, President Wolf, and good evening, Library Commissioners, Library staff. Appreciate this opportunity to update you on our portfolio of library capital projects. As you know from our recent FY 26-27 budget discussions, our ongoing capital investments represent a sizable portion of our annual operating budget. And these projects feature a spectrum of scale, cost, and complexity in an overall portfolio of approximately $200 million worth of investments in the pipeline. Today, our capital projects manager, Lisa Valerio, will present a progress report, including updates on our major branch renovations. And we also have our colleagues from Public Works present today. Thank you for being here. Lisa, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, Library Commissioner President, Vice President, Commissioners, Library Director, and Chief Operating Officer. Tonight, I am delighted to share with you a few of our library capital projects. As our director mentioned, Lourdes Garcia, Section Manager for Bureau of Architecture, as well as Andy Sohan, the project architect.
Pardon me, do you mind speaking a little closer into the microphone?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, just for audio so everyone can hear.
Thank you. Oh, that's a lot better. Andy Sohan, who is our project architect, and is both are in the audience to answer any technical questions after our PowerPoint presentation. Since our last presentation last July, we do have a few updates, including our completed projects, small capital projects, and large capital projects. Our completed projects include the Support Services Facility Energy Efficient Project, a $8.9 million project, which included an upgrade of the HVAC system, a new roof, and installation of the photovoltaic panel system. This project is completed. The contractor has moved out, and we're basically working on punch list items. Our second project that has been completed is the mobile services high-density storage facility, a $1.6 million project that provided new compact storage system for our collections. The history collection will be completed moving from main library to the 750 Branham building by the end of the month. And then once that is completed, we will begin the periodical collection move from main library to the 750 building. Upcoming capital projects include our roof and our moat. The roof, estimated at a $7.3 million project, is partially funded from our Building Forward grant of $3.1 million. The repairs for this roof, the project includes repair roof leaks with an estimated started project start date of September 2025. The new adjusted project timeline includes a site assessment and additional leaks that were identified. Our moat project, an estimated project budget of $7.28 million, was also funded with $3.2 million from our Building Forward grant. The replacement of the seismic system, this will include the replacement of the seismic system that surrounds the building and the perimeter of the building. We have an adjusted schedule start date of March 2026. A priority and critical safety project is the safety barriers. The library has been working with the Department of Public Works to design and install architectural appropriate safety barriers for the multi-story spaces complementing the library's interior feature. The very complex fire life system in this building has impacted the design, resulting in an increase in our budget.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're having a really hard time hearing you up here. So I'm just wondering if we can get the sound increased, or it just is, it's.
Can you hear it?
Like,
Like, okay, maybe
that's
it's
much
just,
better. Thank you very
it's
much.
just my lips are touching it, so I'm like, sorry. No, I apologize. As I mentioned, the very complex fire system, safety system in this building significantly impacts the project cost. Project cost was estimated at $3.6 million, and with the design and with the fire system, we have increased the budget to project cost estimate to $8 million. The additional services for structural engineer were required and adjusted the start date for this project to June 2025. A recently added project to the capital projects is the mechanical systems here at Main Library, a three-part project that includes an AC system in the History Center, which has reached its end of life cycle, cooling towers here at Main Library that are working past capacity, and a humidity temperature control system for their history archival collection room. These projects will be working with Public Works to provide assessments and a scope so that we can move forward to implementing these projects. Next, I'd like to share some projects for you for this at our branch libraries. Our Mission Bay project includes replacement of the flooring, the carpet that's located in the public spaces, as well as the recycled rubber tile that's located in the staff area and the library entrance. We are working with, it is being managed by our Bureau of Building Repair, and we are in our final phase of selection of the material, the flooring material. Our next project is Ocean View, and we are working with Public Works to do an assessment to replace the air handling unit, which has faced a lot of corrosion due to the location of our branch. Our last branch, Park Branch, has a project that is at $1.5 million estimated budget and is currently in progress with about 20% complete. This is a waterproofing project that will help to continue to protect our interior of our building as well as our roof. Our current large capital projects include Mission Branch Library. This project, a $34 million project, also has allocated funding from our grant of $5.2 million. The project is about 40% complete, and we are looking forward to the structural steel installation phase. We are currently working on shelving and furniture procurement for this branch, as well as collection programming on the main floor and the second floor. Construction started in August, and we expect to complete this project in spring 2026. Here I have two images showing the main floor and the ground floor. This slide includes 3 photos of the project and construction. The first photo is of our reading room with the stairway barrier on the side. The middle one shows as if you were walking up to the reading room, and we have pictured is our project architect Andy, as well as our building inspector Lee. The last photo, the third one, includes a photo of what will be the extension of the children's room on the ground floor that's adjacent to Orange Alley. Our next project that I'd like to share with you is of Chinatown Branch Library, a $37 million estimated budget project. This one was also funded with partially funded with a Building Forward grant. Currently, there is third-party structural review, and we hope to begin construction in late fall of this year with an estimated 2-year timeline for completion of this project. The images that I share with you tonight include the top image of a children's room. As you can see, the whimsical detail on the ceiling, soft seating for our parents and our families to be sitting and enjoying our library space, our children's room. The far right image shows our reading room with soft seating, shelving, as well as the wood shelving against the walls, including the detail of the windows, which will be restored. Our last photo on the image on the bottom includes a view as if you were standing at the welcome desk looking into the children's area, our children's collection, as well as going up to the stairway to the reading room. This slide includes a picture of our temporary Chinatown Library located on 950 Grant Avenue. It's a 4,200 square foot building. Currently, we are working on furniture procurement. We have completed the collection layout, and we hope to move in after summer strive in late summer 2025. This image here includes some images or floor plans of what our Chinatown Library will look like. On the far right, you will see the first floor plan, an entrance to the library. We'll have a storefront window, so as people are walking by Grant Avenue, you'll be able to see and take a sneak peek into the library with hopefully patrons roaming our floor, looking for collection, reading a magazine, or using a computer. The library will also include a mezzanine floor, which will be dedicated to our staff area, where they will be processing our material and have our staff offices, as well as a restroom and a staff break room. Our upcoming project, the Ocean View Branch Library project, a project site evaluation includes a 20,000 square foot building with a range of $65 million to $94 million cost estimate range, which was provided by Public Works Bureau of Architecture last year, July 2024. The library continues and will focus to do our due diligence on the best site for the community for Ocean View Library, as well as the San Francisco community. Thank you very much for allowing me to present to you the capital projects. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much. Before we turn this over for discussion with the commissioners, we open this up for public comment. Public comment is now open here in Corrett Auditorium.
Hi, I've never done this before. Never been to a meeting like this at all before. I am a 20-year resident of the Ocean View neighborhood, born and raised in the Mission, lived in different parts of the city. But I call Ocean View my home. It is a neighborhood that I'm very passionate about. And I talk to my neighbors a lot about the ideas about the proposed locations of a new library, about the history of the movement of the library in our neighborhood, about the accessibility of the neighborhood, or of the neighborhood as a whole, but including the library itself. I personally am somebody who deals with mobility issues, and the current location of the library is a difficulty for me. So I end up going to different libraries in the in neighboring neighborhoods, such as Merced or Excelsior. I guess the biggest point I wanted to make is that I think it's the idea of bringing it closer to Sagamore, the Alamany intersection, or Zaba, that area is really important. I think especially because the MTA has proposed removing the M Ocean View stop at Orizaba and Broad, which would make it an even longer walk for somebody like myself. Right now, the reason I go to Merced most often is because I have mobility issues, and by the time I've walked from Sagamore Street to Broad and Orizaba to take the M to get to the library where it's at in its current location, I might as well just stay on so that I can go to Stonestown afterwards. And that's not ideal when I want to be able to just access the library in my own community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your thoughtful comments. Any further public comment?
Hi, my name is Kayla, and I live in District 3. I came probably about a year ago when we were first hearing about the Chinatown branch renovation, just to vocalize my support, enthusiastic support for this renovation. And I'm here again today to do the same thing. Encourage you all to fund it fully so that way we can move on a quicker timeline. The community needs this gathering space. I love the library, and the restoration of our beautiful reading room is of vital importance, as well as the open rooftop space for people to gather outside as well in a safe and quiet or noisy environment, a place for it to be open and welcome to all in the community. And I'm very excited, urge you to give it all the money.
Thank you very much. Further public comment?
Peter Warfield, Library Users Association. I wish we had the previous estimates. This is a huge amount. This is around $165 million of total upcoming plans, not counting the ones that are to be determined. I'm curious what the Mission Branch temporary library square footage is compared to what Chinatown is getting. I've been very concerned in the past, including on this and other projects, what you're providing as service for the sometimes years where you have no actual branch other than the one that's under renovation. The Mission Branch has a tiny storefront space, doesn't even have computers that are sitting on desks. You have to go with a library card to get a computer from the kiosk. And if you don't have a library card, if you're somebody who, for whatever reason, you're not getting the same service as you get in the main library or other libraries where there are standing computers that anybody can get up to, including with the ever harder to get guest passes. If people are worried about identifying themselves for any reason or want some kind of anonymous usage, they can get a guest pass, maybe. It's been getting harder and harder to do that. But at the Mission Branch, it doesn't seem that you can even do that. 7 million plus for a leaky roof. What's happening? Are we re-roofing, or we've had leak problems with that roof for quite some time, on again, off again. Leaks for $7 million, and the Ocean View branch seems to have ballooned from 20 million to 30 or 40 million, and now it's up to $94 million. Where's the what's going on with the costs here? I hope you look into it.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment?
Thank you, Margot. I'm speaking now as a District 11 person who lives in District 11. I also work at the Ocean View Library as well. Hi. I guess my question is, that pained me to hear what you were saying about accessibility, because I work at the library as well as, so hearing that is disquieting. But I think my question would be for you all to discuss and so we can hear about. I heard the presentation where it says looking at our best site. What are the best sites at this point? Because I know we've heard different things. And Michael's presentation in prior to the pandemic and the 50,000 square foot Orizaba, I still have that. I know things have changed, but I think the question is, what is the best site? And just discussion on that at this point. I think Mike needs to come and give, Mike Fernandez needs to come and give us another piece about the budget. Because I know when we were talking about the budget before, it becomes even more real now that we're discussing it now when these numbers are floated about. The money was allocated and, we discussed that and that type of stuff. But when it gets to this point, it's like, Mike, we need you up here again to share the piece about where it is now relative to what's going on. And I know we have to set aside money, and Commissioner Mall was giving a good explanation about things to the layperson. So yeah, looking at the best site, what that means, or what the options are at this point, and that would be much appreciated. And thank you so much as always.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment? Public comment is now closed, and I just want to thank our visitor from Ocean View. Thank you very much for making the trip in, and Chinatown. We always appreciate hearing from people in the community, so thank you very much for making your voices heard. So now we're going to turn it over for discussion, and I think Lisa and John, you may want to stand up because I suspect we're going to have some questions. And I just want to remind the commission that this is, I want to remind myself too that this is such an important discussion because so often we're worrying about the books and we're worrying about access and we're worrying about so many things about the content and the programs that we do when we hear so much about that. But we also are the stewards of incredible physical plants throughout this city. We have the main library with 27 branches, then we have the facilities that house the books. So we really have to be incredible stewards of these facilities because without them, we can't perform our job. So I just want to thank you for reminding us of the kind of detail and efforts you put in behind the scenes to really make these facilities sing and let the staff really do what they're so good at doing. I also want to just encourage us to, it's very easy to jump right into talking only about Ocean View because that is such an unknown still. But I want to remind us that this presentation really was about completed projects, things that really have been successfully done. And the small capital projects are very important as well. And so don't want to forget about those, as well as thinking about the projects underway, the Mission Branch and Chinatown Branch. I know that in the months ahead, we're going to have a lot more in-depth discussion about Ocean View because there's a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns. So I just wanted to just remind us that this may not be the perfect moment to dive in only about Ocean View because that is unknown. But this is also a chance with Lisa's very thorough presentation to think about some other things that we are responsible for and have to take care of. And I just want to also go on record and say, thank you for getting the Chinatown temporary branch going before we close as opposed to after. So that's fantastic news. So I open it up for discussion. I apologize for the overarching, but there's so much here. I don't want to get sidetracked only to one topic. So questions, comments, concerns? I mean, it was so thorough, and it's amazing all the things that happen that just happen that we don't always know the detail to make these facilities safe and to make them usable. Of course, it was very disheartening to hear that the Ocean View branch is not providing the kind of support for some of our residents in the area. And hopefully with the new branch, we'll be able to really accommodate that. But and it's exciting, 2026. You really think we're going to open Mission in 2026? Yes. And it's a year away. Anyway, so Commissioner Lomax-Garducci.
So I think with our president's kind of overview, now would be a good time to kind of talk about the ways in which some of these projects that were completed, congratulations, and projects that perhaps have a longer time frame or can feel to people that they've been pushed out, maybe kind of give an overview on what has happened in the marketplace in regard to the supply chain, in regard to other things, so that I think it's important for us to touch base on the context as well, so that people that may be coming into this a library meeting today can hear from whence we've come to get to where we're at right now. So any contextual background you can give us on why the costs continue to increase or projections continue to increase, I just think that that's always good to remind people.
Do you have any actual data for me? I mean, I could speak, but you can fill in what I've missed. How about that? Thank you so much for the question, and thanks for letting me speak to this. After COVID, we saw an increase in material supply of roughly, I don't know, 25% immediately after COVID. The other thing we saw that I think is really important to build into these conversations is we saw a huge increase in lead times, okay? When we started the 199th project, we stood that project up several months before we ever intended to do any work, because we knew we were going to have 12 to 15 months of lead time on most of the equipment. Okay. And what lead time does is that increases your overall cost, because costs are continuing to escalate while you wait. Right. So it's a real tricky situation. So that's a huge part of what you're seeing. In regards to the safety barriers here at the main, there was just so much additional engineering that had to go on to make that project work. And again, escalating costs have driven, if you look at the material costs for the first round of that effort, by now it's probably about doubled. We can always get technical and dig that up later if we want to, but pretty clear that it has. So labor has not slowed down either. So a lot of it is, like I said, increase in material costs, elongation of the supply chain, and thus increased escalation over time. Is that good? Any questions around that?
No, I think that's a nice baseline, because I do think that when we hear the ballooning of costs, I think that people oftentimes do not always, well, we just need to hear again about, why has an estimated cost gone up to 30% or maybe even sometimes even more than that.
Sure.
In these public funded endeavors, capital endeavors.
And it's across the board. I mean, in my role, I do a lot of work with other departments. I was just on an interview board with real estate today. We talk about this stuff. Fire department, everybody's cutting back on projects, delaying projects because of this. Even on my own, personal projects on my stuff, costs have just gone through the roof, and it's hard to manage.
I just want to also add to that, thank you so much for bringing that up, is that we're also dependent on no one in our department and no one at the library doing an initial cost estimate. And if the cost estimator is not doing their job well, it then reflects really poorly on us when we have no involvement in it. So that cost estimator process is really critical, and that's where we get into a lot of trouble, to be honest.
Yep, that's accurate. Now, our colleagues at BOA, they're constantly refining their as-needed list for their cost estimators, and I think we've recently kind of tended to favor one over others. But yeah, we've seen a lot of variation there over time. But they're doing their due diligence to make sure they're getting the best cost estimators on board. But again, if they're not up to speed with what's going on in the market, it can make a huge difference. And I think we did see a lag there on exactly what you're talking about.
Commissioner Bolander.
Thanks for the presentation and as usual, the detail. I'm just curious, have you guys factored in these new tariffs or is that not part of the plan yet because no one really knows what the heck's going on? It's like a random number generator every day?
Correct. No, we have not
Okay.
factored that in at this point.
All right. Thank you.
Any other further public comment? Well, it was a very robust presentation. It's really exciting to know that we've got a great team working behind the scenes to make the doorfronts so welcoming and safe for our residents. So thank you very much for that. And we do look forward to having a more thorough conversation in the months ahead about the next step for Ocean View, as that really is a critical part of our planning for the future. So thank you again.
Thank you.
We will now move on to item number 4, which is the city librarian's report. And we turn it over to City Librarian Michael Lambert for this presentation.
Thank you, President Wolf. And I'm going to do the honors in kicking off the City Librarian's report this evening. Actually, I'm not, now that I see the slide up here. I'm going to introduce Michelle Jeffers, our Chief of Community Programs and Partnerships, with a presentation about Women's History Month.
Try to get this right. And speaking of something completely different, I'm here to talk about Women's History Month. I am Michelle Jeffers, the Chief of Community Programs and Partnerships. At San Francisco Public Library, we always recognize women's history, although we call it her story, past, present, and future. But I would also say that we try to uplift women in our programs all year long, not just 1 month of the year. And as last time I came before you, I think I was talking about the new monument outside the main library. So all of those are part of our bigger picture that women are not just important to us in the month of March. And before I get into my slides too, I wanted to mention that we do have an internal a panel that's happening with female city leaders happening next Tuesday, the 25th, with our own Dolly Goyle being one of those city leaders, along with MTA Planning and the Arts Commission, talking about their career journeys and work-life balance and on all the issues that come into play for women in leadership. So we were thinking about Women's History Month a while back when we picked our bi-monthly on the same page book club selection, which is for March and April. We knew that we would be facing Women's History and also Climate Month, and so we picked this book, Yours for the Taking by Gabrielle Korn. It was one of the New York Times Best Books of the Year in 2023. It's set in a post-apocalyptic commune run by women in the wasteland that is Manhattan in 2050, and it heralds the rebels who bring truth to power amid a villainous version of corporate feminism. It's really a wonderful read, and even better, Gabrielle Korn, who's not local, is coming out in person for the talk on April 19th. So still plenty of time to read it, still plenty of time to join us for our book club, but it is part of our Women's History and Climate Month celebrations. For adult programs this month for Women's History Month, we already celebrated International Women's Day at the Excelsior branch with Katiana Vila playing guitar. We've also worked with our arts and culture partners. So the Asian Art Museum is doing talks with us about the images of the goddess in artwork. And the opera is doing lectures about the history of the diva in the operas. We also featured the Writers' Grotto, which are up-and-coming writers who write together at a space in San Francisco, and they will be talking about the closest bond, and writing about mothers and daughters. And then earlier this month, we had Joan Gelfand, the author whose new book is Outside Voices, a memoir of the Berkeley Revolution. This was a winner of the International Book Award, and it's an intimate portrait of Berkeley in 1972 and the transformative power of the women's movement. For our film programs, we're showing a number of really meaningful and moving documentaries. They include Radical Harmonies, which chronicles the women's music cultural movement post-Woodstock, Jane, an abortion service, which tells a little-known chapter of really any history, not just women's history, about a Chicago-based women's health group that performed nearly 12,000 safe, illegal abortions between 1969 and 1973, before Roe, with no formal medical training. And Home Court, which is about a female basketball prodigy and her life in high school as she is recruited. For professional workshops, we have a workshop on women and money happening, and also women who are pursuing other careers such as automotive technology. So lots of opportunities to, improve your career. And for our youth and family programs, we have Girls Who Code workshops. We have a craft about women suffragists, creating similar pins that the women's suffrage movement wore. And then we have food favorites, which are a tasting program for families about featuring foods that were invented by women, including the classic chocolate chip cookie invented by a woman. That's right. and baked by a woman I know right here that are magnificent. And then we have a number of book lists for all ages, of course, some wonderful curated lists about girls who can do it all, a celebration of women in Spanish, exploring the work of women artists, and of course, all the women who fight the seemingly never-ending battle for their rights in the workplace and beyond. And that concludes my presentation about Women's History Month.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And now I am excited to tell you about the library's participation in NBA All-Star Weekend activities here in San Francisco. Our mobile outreach team partnered with the San Francisco Unified School District to host the Golden State Warriors at Bret Harte Elementary School in the Bayview. Four-time champion Draymond Green was there to promote the value of education and inspiring the young people to pursue their dreams. He also helped promote our new Golden State Warriors library cards. Our staff spent the morning and the afternoon engaging waves of classes who participated in arts and crafts activities, literacy games, and the joy of receiving a free book of their choosing. Former Golden State Warrior and NBA slam dunk champion Jason Richardson was on hand to engage with staff and help the young people get excited about all the festivities that were happening. And this was our first programmatic engagement with Mayor Daniel Lurie, pictured on the right center image. And he gave the San Francisco Public Library some wonderful acknowledgement in his remarks. He also welcomed NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Golden State Warrior Draymond Green, and he highlighted the city's commitment and strong partnership to support youth and families in our school district. It was a special day as the NBA Cares Foundation unveiled the refurbished school gymnasium that you can see in that same picture with the mayor. That was underwritten with private funding support. And this outreach was a great example of how we're supporting the community as a literacy champion and sparking curiosity and delight in reading for school-aged children. In closing, I want to take a moment to acknowledge Michelle Jeffers and all the phenomenal women on this stage who work for the library and who support the work of the Library Commission, and really all the phenomenal women throughout the entire organization who contribute to our mission and make San Francisco Public Library the premier urban library that it is. And that concludes the City Librarian's Report.
Thank you very much, Michael, and Michelle, for your presentations. Before we open it up for discussion and conversation here at the commission level, I'm now going to have public comment open here in Correct Auditorium.
Peter Warfield, Library Users Association. Thank you for the presentations. I did think that actually an announcement might be coming with respect to what's going on with the funding from IMLS and others contemplated for cuts. I certainly think that that's something that we might want to know what's expected, what's coming, what's planned, what do you know, certainly on a future agenda item, and certainly for something for the commission to be concerned about. I don't think that the library here has a very large proportion of its budget. Well, it isn't very large proportion, but there's certainly usually something coming, and that would be worthwhile. I was glad to see Call Jane and Women in Money. One of my problems with the financial programs is I almost never, in fact, I don't recall ever seeing what you've got for poor people. What do poor people plan? How do you get on Medi-Cal, Medicare? Where can you find clinics that are for poor people, et cetera, et cetera? It almost completely, if not completely, including on this one, Financial Capability Month, I don't see anything that's coming for those folks, and I don't see anything. Poor folks also have financial difficulties and objectives and so on, and need to also live and could certainly use a lot of help, which I don't see coming from the library at all. There are a whole range of other things that we're not seeing at the library, including not as many books as I would like. We heard about access, but I don't see the access to print being anywhere close to equal with.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment? Thank you.
Can't believe I'm doing this twice in the same day. I want to second something that the gentleman that just spoke just said. I live on a fixed income. I'm on Social Security, have been for quite a while, the majority of my life. And I do see, I get the emails from the library about like programs for financial wellness, but I don't see anything that applies to me at all. And like, even though certain neighborhoods maybe don't have a population that necessarily needs that, there are neighborhoods within the community that definitely do. Another thing I wanted to mention or second to what he had said early in his first comment of the evening was about, the political climate at the moment. It's hard for somebody who feels like they don't have any power and don't have any control. I've chosen to focus on my community where I live. I've been working in my community to talk to my neighbors and work with the MTA as far as the intersection of Sagamore Brotherhood and Alamany, because it's incredibly dangerous. So that is something to consider if Site D was chosen for Ocean View. There would definitely need to be a rerouting of traffic, even though the current PDF says that the traffic is currently designed well for that location. I think it would need to be reconsidered, at least with pedestrian lighting and maybe a slower speed limit. Again, thank you very much for your time, and I can't believe I did this 2 times in a row.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment?
You did very well. I'm coming up here. The presentations are wonderful. I'm hearing all the information of all the resources and programs we have as part of our mission. But I wanted to draw attention to something that was celebrated last week, which was the Career Center in City Hall, which has been 1 year. I want to share that our local 1021 formed a committee with the city around 2008 to work on this. It came out of a push for career development and talent management for our members and to create opportunities for advancement in the workplace. So this is a wonderful success story that's come out. If you go to City Hall, when you walk in the front and hang a left, there you'll find the Career Center. They have the gentleman I spoke to him on Monday. I came by because I saw the 1 year. And he was just sharing with me all the different classes and classes that they have available for not just current city workers, but somebody who might be interested in employment. It was really wonderful. And you can drop in and they have appointments with you where they can talk about your career, how to prepare for exams and that type of thing. So I thought it was important to highlight this wonderful achievement of something that I think benefits a lot of San Franciscans and those in the Bay Area. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Just want to remind people that public comment has to connect to the agenda item. Any further public comment?
Hello. I just want to make a little pitch here for one of the programs of the San Francisco Public Library called City Guides, which also emphasizes strong women and famous women like Mary Ellen Pleasant and Lily Hitchcock Coit, all those lovely women on a yearly, almost on every tour. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment? Seeing there's no further requests, public comment is now closed. I want to thank everyone for their thoughtful comments today. And as always, the City Librarian's report is always a highlight. Thank you, Michelle, and City Librarian Michael Lambert. And so we open this up for any questions, comments from the commissioners.
I love her story. Thank you so much, Michelle. And will you please say thank you to the whole team?
Great. Well, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of us to, it takes a village to do anything. And so I know that these programs that we've heard about and the results and the images we've seen really means that everybody from all the different branches and all the different divisions of the library staff have participated, worked together to make these programs so successful and meaningful. And we look forward to many more programs in the year ahead. I know we'll soon be getting a briefing on Summer Stride at some point. So that's always it's fun when it gets announced, and then it's fun when you give the results. So, and then everybody has fun in between. So we'll look forward to that. This concludes item number 4, and today we are not adjourning the meeting in honor of anyone. So at this point, we will do adjournment, and it will no longer require a vote. And so I am going to use my new gavel and say this meeting is adjourned. And welcome everybody back in April for our meeting. But I do want to just say one quick thing, which is Night of Ideas is happening on Saturday, April 5th. Saturday, April 5th. So please sign up for tickets. It's going to be phenomenal, like it was even every year. It just gets better and better. So we hope. Yes, at 4 o'clock, you can bring your kids and your families and enjoy it, and then that ends at 6, and then the adults are let in.
Then the craziness.
And the craziness stuff, as always. The innovation.
Yeah, I like how you put that.
And we're working very closely with the Asian Art Museum this year, in addition to the Consul General of France and KQED, and we just want to thank the Friends for their support to make it happen as well. So thank you very much, and there are many programs in between now and April 5th, so we'll see you. Thank you.